Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about two holsters from Versacarry, which is a name you've heard on this channel before, from Versacarry, and that is their Comfort Flex inside the waistband holster and their Compound outside the waistband holster. So in true transparency, as I always do with my channel, Versacarry contacted me, asked me if I wanted to take a look at some of their products. And for those of you guys who've been around the channel for a little while, you guys know that I have reviewed the Ranger holster. And in fact, it made it to my top 5 worst products I've ever owned. Because this is a horrible holster. And I told them, it's not even a holster, it's a tube with that you like kind of set your gun in. I told them I have reviewed your products before and was not impressed in the least bit. And they said, give us a chance to change your mind on what it was. They admitted that they had some problems with this one. I don't know if they're still having problems with this one. I keep it around, like I said in my top 5 worst video. I keep it around just to show people how not to make a holster. Crooked stitching, bad and uneven stitching. The gun doesn't fit in it very well. It's just not a good representation of what a holster should be. They asked which holsters I wanted. I said, these are the guns I have. Send me something. I didn't care. Whatever. I wasn't going to get picky about it. So they sent me the Comfort Flex inside the waistband for the Glock 43. And they sent me the Compound outside the waistband for the G19. So there are things about these holsters I like, and there are things about these holsters I absolutely dislike. But the fact that I like anything about them is hands above what I thought about the Ranger. So let's first get into some of the specifications about the holsters themselves. Now these two particular Versacarry holsters are what Versacarry is calling true hybrids. Oftentimes you hear hybrid as something more along the lines of this, which is from Falco holsters, which is leather or some sort of different medium than Kydex on the back and then Kydex on the outer shell. This is normally what you would call a hybrid holster. These have leather wrapped Kydex. So it's a Kydex shell on the outside, leather on the top, leather on the inside, leather on the back. And in the case of this inside the waistband holster, there is then significant amount of padding with a cloth covering it that touches your body. On the Compound holster, it is again a Kydex shell with leather on the outside, leather on the inside, leather backing, looks like maybe two layers thick, leather backing, of course leather belt clips, and nothing like the padding on the backside. Now the leather they use is buffalo leather, and the hardware on this, like this clip and the screws and all that, are all steel. Now the Comfort Flex seems to have reasonably decent stitching. The cutouts that they put in both holsters, kind of exposing the Kydex, is a cool little finesse touch, I guess. But again, the stitching seems to be reasonably straight and strong. It's got the single point of retention, so it is technically a leather holster that you can adjust the tension on, or retention. On the back side, everything seems to be double and triple stitched along this nylon border, and then it has the Versacarry logo in the cloth backing with all of that different padding. Now, what I did to kind of break this in is I wrapped my pistol in 2 layers of like the freezer bags, the Ziploc freezer bags, 2 layers of Ziploc freezer bags for about a week and a half, just to get it to draw to where it wasn't like push in and pull out. That's the problem I have with leather holsters oftentimes, is that you really have to push them in to get them to seat into the holster, and then when you pull them out, it's a delayed reaction. It's like stepping on gum. You can feel that quick tug, and it's not quite as crisp as the retention on something like a true Kydex holster. Now once the pistol is in there, as you can see, the trigger guard is reasonably covered and protected. It's got a full sweat guard all the way up beyond the top of the pistol, and the pistol does not protrude from the bottom. So with the compound holster outside the waistband, as you can see, again, the stitching actually seems to have improved. I don't know what the problem was with the Ranger holster, but the stitching seems to have improved in the company. Again, this is buffalo leather. As you can see, the leather outside with all the revealing cuts with the carbon fiber looking Kydex. It too has a single point of retention because, again, it is Kydex. It appears to be probably 080 Kydex. It might be a little thinner than that, I'm not sure. The belt loops seem to have held up okay through my time in wearing it. Again, I've worn these on and off for about a month and sharing time with them, so it's not like I've worn this one for a full month or the other one for a full month. I've probably worn this one a couple weeks, probably 2 weeks total in days, and I've worn this one less. The rest of this compound, here's the back of it. The back seems to be, again, well stitched, double stitched where it needs to be. The stitching seems to be straight and even. You can access the retention screw from the back side here. And for break-in, I did much the same. I wrapped this in 2 layers of the Ziploc bags, Ziploc freezer bags, shoved it in there, and I would twist it around and all that, just to help stretch out this back side of leather. Now, as you can see, the sweat guard doesn't go up quite as far. The pistol also does not protrude from the bottom. All right, pros and cons time. What do I think of each holster? Again, the fact that I have any like towards either holster is a step up from my first impression of Versacarry. Number one, I don't like the cant. Not at all. I don't carry back there. I don't carry at 3:30, 4 o'clock. And so neither one of these were ideal for me. So I really had to fight that off. I don't particularly like that carry position. I don't particularly advocate that carry position. And I think that's why with other holster companies, these clips are oftentimes able to be moved and turned, which I don't know how you would do with leather, but they understand that people like to carry in multiple positions, and that people who don't like to carry in the single canted position like this, which I think is actually pretty extreme even for me, the cant, I think is pretty extreme even for me, that you've alienated half your customer base. For comfort, this took me a while to get used to. The padding on the back seems like it should be very comfortable, but for me it just makes it really thick. I don't like how thick it is. And I've already discussed how I don't like the draw out of leather holsters because it's sticky. It's sticky, and you don't get that clean break. It's more of a drag and pull. Like you don't get the clean break like you would out of a Kydex holster. I found it very hard to reholster with both holsters. Also, for this particular holster, the comfort level was tarnished by a quality control problem. And I know we've discussed quality control problems with Versacarry, but there is a little tit right here, and while that doesn't look like much, that thing on this side digs really badly into your skin on your hip. And I don't know if that's meant to stay there or if somebody forgot to trim something or glue something, but that is a horrible, it feels like a needle jabbing into your side. So for me, that right there, that's a quality control problem. One of the other things I don't like, I find it to be dishonest of the company to say that this is non-collapsing. This is very much a collapsing holster. They say on their website this is non-collapsing. When you have this up against your hip bone, right? When you have this up against your hip bone and you draw your gun out of it, the fucking thing goes like this. It's absolutely collapsing holster. I find it to be dishonest and disingenuous of them to say that on their website, especially knowing that holsters that slam shut are part of the reason people don't like nylon and all leather holsters. And that is one of the reasons why I found it so hard to reholster. So I broke it in just fine out here in air, but when I went to reholster on my body, I shoving it back into the holster. That's dangerous and I don't like it. So for this holster, with the QC problem, for me, maybe not for you, for me, this holster gets a complete fail. I think that they improved their stitching. I liked the hard inside. I like how they put Kydex in there. I think it's kind of cool. I like how they made it so you can adjust the retention, although that doesn't really matter much when it collapses. But everything else about this holster, I think there's way too much padding. For me, I wish you could adjust the cant, and I think the leather's fine, the leather quality's fine, but I just don't see this, especially at the price point that they're asking. Maybe half the price, a third the price than what they're asking, but I couldn't at all suggest one of these holsters to anybody. So let's go with the compound holster. There's a lot more about this holster that I like than the other holster. I think this holster, again, I think the stitching has improved greatly from the last product that I had of theirs, that Ranger holster. I like the design, looks cool. The belt loops seem to hold up okay, although I haven't had years of it. I understand that they will change over time with sweat and getting wet and everything like that. But it's comfortable. The biggest thing about this is that when wearing it, I found it to be extremely comfortable to wear. Of course, it's outside the waistband, which has its own definite comfort level anyway. No matter if it's Kydex or leather holster, outside the waistband is generally more comfortable than inside of the waistband, no matter what holster it is. I found this to be very comfortable. I found the leather, that the leather gives a little bit, here in the wings. I found that to be pretty comfortable, that it didn't push it against my body real hard. I found it easier to draw from this, and I think because it was outside the waistband instead of inside the waistband. But that's sort of where it stops for me. The stitching seems to have gotten better. Their quality control seems to have mostly gotten better. The retention screw is mostly pointless because, again, they advertise this as non-collapsing, which it absolutely does collapse. The biggest problem, I think, with this one is I did have a problem reholstering. I still had to kind of shove the gun in because once I pulled it out, my hip bone would collapse the inside. But my biggest problem is this trigger guard. When I would try to draw, the trigger guard, or the guard guarding the trigger guard, the leather guarding the trigger guard, would not let me get a full purchase on the pistol. Now that's a problem. Other holster companies have had that problem as well, but this here is unacceptable. If you can't grab your pistol with a full fighting grip, which in this case requires you to grip it twice. You grip it, it rubs the shit out of your knuckle, and then once you get it out, I found myself then re-gripping it on the way out to presentation. Because as you can see right here, the front side of the leather goes higher than the rear side of the leather. And if it was dipped down like the rear side of the leather, you would be able to get a full grip. So I think the problems with this is really, I don't know if it's a lack of shooters that work there. a lack of actual testing or use with their guns, or with their products. But this here is a complete deal breaker for me. If you can't grab your pistol all the way, then your holster's fucking worthless. If you have smaller fingers, smaller hands, maybe it's not such a big deal for you. Maybe it wouldn't be such a big deal for you. But the fact that they did not follow the same contour on the front as they did on the back, which would have given me only one complaint about this holster, and that's the fact that it collapses. I think they have actually a pretty decent holster here. But as it stands right now, that's a major problem. So that's it. That's my reviews on the Comfort Flex inside the waistband. This particular one's for a Glock 43, and the compound outside the waistband, for instance, for a G19 from Versacarry. I think they still have a long way to go. They're far too expensive, in my opinion, for what you're receiving. This one's around 70 bucks. This one's around 60 bucks as of the time of this video. I think that's a ridiculous price tag to put on these, especially for the quality or lack of quality control and usability out of each one. Now, I believe I gave both of those holsters a fair shot. Last time I called Versacarry anything other than magical, I had a horde of people on social media come after me for it. I stand by my words that Versacarry has a long freaking way to go before they're turning out something that is not just worth the money that they're charging, but the quality that I could possibly suggest to my viewers. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you can get more videos and more honest reviews from me. Thank you to all my patrons out there. Thank you to everybody that has subscribed and supported the channel. Much more to come. Lots of reviews, lots of training videos, all that. Again, hit that notification bell so you can stay informed of what I've got going on. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later.